When you think about a big cosmic tyrant, you probably picture someone with just raw brute force, right? But what if the scariest villain wasn't just a physical threat, but an idea, a whole philosophy of absolute control made real? Well, that's exactly what we're going to deconstruct today, the philosophical horror of Mongol.
So, the Warworld saga is way, way more than just a superhero slugfest. Honestly, it's a war for a world's soul. It's like this massive Nietzschean parable playing out on a galactic stage. You've got this incredible clash between Mongol's philosophy of just brute nihilism and Superman's radical optimism. The fighting might be happening on some gladiatorial planet, but the real battle? That's a battle for the very idea of meaning itself.
So, to really, truly get what makes Mongols so terrifying, we've got to look past the armor, past the muscles. We have to understand the chilling philosophy that he represents.
And it's super important to know, this is not the Mongol that a lot of us grew up with. That was his father, Mongol Who Was, and he was all about simple brute force. This new ruler of world, Mongol Who Is, oh, he is a totally different kind of monster. His main weapon isn't his fist, it's ideology.
Yeah, Mongol Who is wicked smart. He's studied Warworld's history, he's mastered its technology, and he has built the perfect system of control, what he calls his enforced utopia. He uses this incredibly sophisticated propaganda to convince his own slaves that slavery is freedom. And get this, he's so effective that he actually gives them, and this is just bone-chilling, hope in enslavement.
At the very heart of his power isn't just plain old tyranny. No, it's this meticulously crafted philosophy, and it's called stasis. Think of it as the ultimate no, the total opposition to freedom, to change, to any kind of growth.
Stasis is this cold, passionless system. It's not driven by anger or ambition. It runs on a sterile, unchanging, and just rigidly controlled order. If you want to get philosophical about it, it's the absolute antithesis of the will to power. That basic human drive we all have, to strive, to overcome, to become more. Stasis is the cold, fixed wall that will is supposed to smash against.
The best way to describe what stasis feels like is the spirit of gravity. It's this crushing, oppressive weight that just holds everything and everyone down. It's the tangible feeling of unbreakable rules that stops a free spirit from even thinking about rising up. It makes defeat feel inevitable.
And the human cost? My God, it's horrifying. There's this process called spiritual coagulation, where the vibrant, dynamic human spirit is just annihilated. This quote here says it all. The life force of his people is literally ground down into nothing more than dry, stagnant powder. Okay, so we've got this abstract idea of control, this concept of stasis. But this is where it gets truly next-level terrifying. This philosophy isn't just something Mongol follows. He is the philosophy. Now, this is the absolute key to understanding him. Mongol doesn't just make the rules. He is the physical materialization of those rules. I want you to imagine every law, every limitation, every dogma that has ever held anyone back. And now imagine all of that abstract opposition suddenly growing arms and legs and becoming a sentient being. That is Mongol.
I mean, come on. This is the single best description of him I have ever heard. He has every external command that screams, you can't, you won't, or you shouldn't. He is the living, breathing embodiment of every single limitation that is ever imposed on a person to stop them from becoming something more.
And that's exactly why he's called the Titan. His physical form is a symbol of immense, immovable power. He's the solidified dogma of no. He is the physical manifestation of that spirit of gravity we just talked about, a walking, breathing monument to the death of the human soul.
So, all of this leads to Mongol's true end game. And it's not about winning a fistfight. It's about winning a philosophical argument in the most devastating way you can possibly imagine.
Mongol's entire plan is basically a giant trap designed for Superman, who he sees as the new Übermensch. Now, in philosophy, the Übermensch is this being who creates their own values and overcomes all of humanity's limitations. And Mongol's bet is pretty simple. He believes that when Superman is faced with the absolute chaos of liberating Warworld, his own immense, almost divine power will make the easy path of the tyrant just too tempting to resist.
And his gambit is it's brilliant in a deeply evil way. His goal isn't to kill Superman, no. His victory comes from Superman's violation of restraint.
He believes the hero will eventually, inevitably use his power for absolute enforcement. And if he can push Superman into becoming a tyrant just to bring order, he proves his own nihilistic point, that the entire struggle for meaning, for a better way, is completely pointless.
So, what does this make Mongol in this whole cosmic drama? He's not really an active attacker. He's something far more sinister, a patient, philosophical predator.
Mongol just sits on his throne and waits. He doesn't have to do a thing because his very existence is the challenge. He is, and I love this line, the solidified dogma that dared the flowing spirit to shatter its foundations. He's just completely confident that the spirit of freedom will eventually break itself against the unmoving reality of his perfect, static order.
So, when you boil it all down, Mongol is so much more than a villain. He is the ultimate conceptual enemy. He is the embodiment of the tyrannical no, a static, nihilistic counterforce to everything heroes like Superman stand for: hope, freedom, and the very idea that things can ever get better.
Which leaves us with a really provocative question to chew on. Is Mongol right? When ultimate power is faced with the incredible difficulty and the messiness of real freedom, is the temptation of absolute, enforced order the final greatest trap of all?